Unlocking levels, unlocking levels, unlocking levels. Hosted by Sea of the Source. Tap in.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Sea of the Source back with another episode of Unlocking Levels. Hope y'all doing well. Thank you once again for tuning in. Yo, I hope y'all doing well. Hope life is treating you well and things are going in your favor, because they absolutely are. In today's topic of discussion for today's episode, I want to be sharing this one thing that could be helping you out in any scenario in your life, whether you're going through a problem, whether you're having trouble finding clarity as to why you do what you do and just need something to get you back on track. This episode should help out in a lot of different ways. And before I really get into that, I really want to kind of give you some context as to why I chose to talk about this specific topic. I'm currently going through some situations here in Hawaii. Again, full transparency, I'm out here in Hawaii helping build my family business and things of that nature. And things have been getting a little bit hairy recently in terms of working at the restaurant under the dynamic of working with a family. Things can get really complicated sometimes. There's a lot of feelings involved. There's a lot of different complications that you gotta kind of have to deal with it. And just like anything, it's adversity, and it just shows up in different ways. And this is no exception to that. But I'm at a place right now where I'm working on determining some certain things for myself, whether or not I'm going to continue moving in this direction or if I'm going to pivot to another direction. And I think that when you reach certain really challenging moments, it really opens the door to a lot of doubt. It opens the door to a lot of questions, and you kind of come to the realization, as I've come to the realization, like, damn, I'm going through something like this again. Man, I thought I had done graduated from this phase. I thought I got to this next level. And like I've said multiple times in the past, if you haven't learned your lesson, or if you haven't passed that test that life is putting in front of you, it's gonna come in a different form. It's gonna show up in a different way, and until you pass that lesson. And seems to me there's some lessons that I haven't quite passed yet, you know what I'm saying, in terms of communication, in terms of figuring out the best course of action and the best direction for myself. And I'm not gonna sit here and make excuses. There's a lot of great things about working in this atmosphere with your family and this, that, and the third, but at the same time, there's certain things that, like I said, create a lot of complications, and that can make it very challenging, to say the least. And I'm going through a few things, but without really getting into the full details about that, because I don't want to bore you guys with the with that type of stuff. I think that what I found, again, as I get reflective in my own thought process and I give myself time to really sort things out and utilize all the resources that I have to really try to come to the best conclusion that I can come to. And when I do that, I come up with some really valuable thoughts from my estimation. And again, that's the topic of today's discussion. I want you to take this one thing that I'm going to talk about and use it to your advantage when you're in situations where you feel stagnated, you feel you've kind of lost your way, you kind of feel like there's been a lot of self-doubt that just has crept up recently, and you don't know if you want to continue on, or if you should continue on, or if you even can continue on, right? And that one thing I'm talking about today is reconnecting with your why. And there's a quote by Friedrich Nietzsche that says, "He who has a strong enough why can bear almost any how." And I love that, because when you have a strong enough reason to survive the things that you're going through, to do the things that you do, to make the choices and the sacrifices that you make, if you have a strong enough reason, then you can bear anything that comes your way. And like I just mentioned, I'm going through a scenario right now where, man, I'm not gonna lie, I've kind of reached a point where I'm like questioning, damn, should I even continue moving in this direction? Should I do this? Should I do that? I'm laying out all the options. And, you know, there's a part of me that feels like, man, bro, maybe you might need to just completely do something different, new, something new completely. And, you know, as I'm giving myself this time to reflect and think about what the next best move is, I realized, like, yo, you know what the best thing for me to do is to reconnect with my why, is to sit, not only lay out all the options and lay out the scenario and look at the bigger picture of things, but take this time to reconnect with my sense of purpose, to reconnect with that motivation as to why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I moved out to Hawaii in the first place, why I'm going on the unbeaten path, why I'm going the less traditional route in terms of what I'm looking to create in my life, and you know, what my original vision is, like reconnect to that commitment, that purpose, that why, that reasoning, that motivation. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I've had to do recently. And I got to tell you, you know, me doing that has lit a new fire under me, and I'm ready to, you know, go at it some more. You know, not necessarily tolerate the bullshit and things like that, but I have kind of drawn certain conclusions for myself where I've figured out, like, okay, if I'm going to do this, then I have to do this, blah, 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 right? And again, not to bore you with certain details, but I've laid out more of a crystal clear plan as to, you know, what I'm going to do. And in the meantime, you know, continue to work here at my uncle's restaurant and things like that, you know what I'm saying? But I think that, again, everything happens for you. For me, I've come to the realization that when things are tricky or challenging and they get difficult, I think that it's happening to wake you up, to move you in a different direction. There's something there. There's a bigger reason why it's happening. So for me, what I've learned is that this situation I'm in right now isn't necessarily gonna be my forever thing. It's my thing for right now. And it's what it's done is it's pushed me back towards my original purpose, which was to build this brand, to build Unlocking Levels, to build my vlog, to become a full-time content creator. And you know, that's really what it boils down to, and to make an impact and a difference that way, and to inspire other people that way. And I feel like most of my bandwidth has been taken because I've been spending so much of my time physically working at this in this environment, and it really hasn't felt like I've been moving the needle too much in a lot of other areas of my life. And you know, it's taken a back seat, so to speak, to everything else. And for me, going through what I've been going through, it's really just reopened my eyes actually back to why I originally came here, why I originally moved in this direction. And again, things are happening for you, so I take it like that. And I'm gonna trust myself. I'm gonna, you know, try to make wise decisions, make the best decisions I possibly can, and keep moving forward at the end of the day. And you know, it's in life, we all have a motivation to do something, you know, whether it's simply to survive or you're working on something bigger. You know what I'm saying? And for me, I got like a bigger goal. And for certain people, it's just about surviving. It's about making it to the next day. It's about, you know, putting food on the table. And no matter what it is, I think if you were to take that, if you were to look at that motivation, if you were to look at that why, and really, really take it to a deeper level and really unpack it even more, or even add on to it a little bit more in terms of like create a deeper reasoning and a deeper why to what you're doing, it can create so much more fulfillment in your life. Again, whether you're working on something big or you're just simply trying to survive, right? Like that why is extremely important. We all have a motivation to want to do things, and there's a motivation behind why we do what we do every day, why we make these sacrifices, why we choose to do this and do that, right? But you got to determine what your why is, right? And I think sometimes in life, as we move forward and life continues on, it's almost inevitable that we're going to hit stretches where we feel a little stagnant. Things feel a little mundane. And during these times is exactly when, when you need to reconnect yourself to that motivation, and reconnect yourself to that purpose. You know what I'm saying? And you also just got to remind yourself about the reasons why you even do what you do. Just reconnect to your why completely. And I think when you do this, it provides so much clarity. You can get so caught up in the weeds when things are getting tough, things are getting difficult, and you could be like, fuck this, I want to quit, I want to just stop, and then when you're in those moments, you lose complete sight of why you even put yourself in this situation in the first place, why you're doing what you do in the first place, right? So it's important to reconnect to that why in order to keep moving forward. And that's the way I look at it. And it's helped me in a lot of situations. And for me, in this episode, I'm going to share a lot of, first and foremost, how to even clearly define your why, because if you haven't clearly defined your why, it's going to be a lot harder for you to move forward. You're just going to be kind of floating about, not really being decisive with which direction you want to move in, the things that you want to do, and you're going to end up where you end up. And you may get lucky and end up in a certain place, but I know just by the laws of the universe that that's not usually the way it works. You gotta work. It's everything's determined by a string of events, a string of decisions that you make. And I think that the more good decisions you make, the better results you have in your life. That's just the way I look at it. And so again, in this episode, I'm going to share a bunch of different ways that I've reignited that motivation in myself, where I've reconnected to that why, how I keep that at the forefront of what I do. I'm going to share some methods that have worked for me, share some common methods and practices that other people use that could potentially work for you. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to figure that out for yourself. Again, I'll share some options here, but you're going to have to determine for yourself what's going to work for you. You might have to even try out a bunch of different things in order to kind of find out what works best for you. But I highly encourage you to at least give it a shot before you quit anything that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So first off, again, when you don't have a clearly defined why, it's going to be a lot harder for you to figure anything out. It's going to be a lot harder for you to make decisions to move forward, right? For me, what I like to do, for me, my why, actually, let me start there by just kind of sharing my why. My why is why I do what I do is for my family. Why I do what I do is for myself. Why I do what I do is for my freedom. Why I do what I do is for my purpose. And why I do what I do is for love. I do my best to come from that pure place of love with everything I do, with everything that I say, the actions that I take in my life, the things I speak into existence. It's all from that place of love. And this is exactly why I'll make certain sacrifices. I'll tolerate certain things. I'll make choices that are going to lead me to a better place. You know what I'm saying? Because I have a strong why. And, when you have that clearly defined reason for what you do, it's only going to help you continue to move forward. So for me, as part of what I do every day, is I practice gratitude. You guys know that I really do focus on trying to practice gratitude as much as I can. Not necessarily every day. I shouldn't say every day, because there are days that it's something that doesn't get crossed off my checklist of things to do, to be quite honest with you. But I do try to practice gratitude in my own mind. I might not necessarily write it in a journal or anything like that, but I do practice it in my own mind. But I think the way, looking back at it, the way that I was able to clearly define my why, excuse me, allergies are crazy right now, but the reason, the way I was able to clearly determine my why was by simply getting introspective, writing down in a journal, separating yourself from your devices, separating yourself from any outside noise, anything that can distract you, and just being alone and in solitude with you, yourself, and your thoughts. And preferably with a journal, to be able to write down your thoughts is going to be the more ideal way of doing things. And for me, I write down whatever comes to mind. Sometimes I'll just jot a bunch of stuff down that's literally that I'm thinking to kind of get the pen flowing. And then what I'll do from there is I'll start to get a little bit more structured. I'll start to remind myself the reason why I even sat down in the first place. Okay, what is my why? I ask myself these questions like, what is my why? Why do I do what I do? What's important to me? Am I showing up as my best self? You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I doing all this for? And then I'll even write out that question. And then in my own mind, start to come up with the answers, and just being brutally honest with myself, looking at myself in the mirror, telling myself the truth 100% truthfully, and putting those answers out on paper, and spending enough time with myself to be able to get clearer and clearer and clearer. And I think when you give yourself enough time, what happens is you start to remember those reasons. They start to resonate with you in your own mind, and it starts to wake you up again as to why you keep getting up and you no longer stay down. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I've had moments where I felt like giving up and quitting, and I'm sure a lot of us have. Even some of our most, the people that we admire the most, they have moments that they want to turn back. They have moments that they want to call it quits and give up. But I guarantee you, they find something to reignite them. They find something to remotivate them. And I would say 99% of those times, it's reconnecting to their purpose and their why, their reason to why they do it. It could be for their family. It could be because they want $1 million. It could be because whatever that reason is for you, you got to determine that for yourself. But the key is to be brutally honest with yourself and not lie to yourself. So I think that's one of the most important components to determining your why. Excuse me. And now that you have your why clearly defined, once you have your why clearly defined, it's about always having access to that. I think for me, I like to keep it in my phone. I like to use the Notes app on my iPhone. Android, I don't really know what y'all got in terms of apps that you can use to help you stay on top of that and have to have access. I actually like to have messages on my phone, like on my home screen, to kind of keep that fresh in my mind. A lot of people like to have vision boards, put pictures all over the place to constantly remind them. They might have a picture of their family as to like why they should continue to keep on fighting and keep showing up and keep working hard to get their family to a better place, or whatever the case may be. It just, again, it's whatever works for you. You got to remember why you do what you do. And I think that when you do that, it's only going to be beneficial to you and help you. So however you can keep that fresh in your mind, figure that out and do that often. So, a lot of people even recommend writing it down every single day. Not necessarily just having access to it where you can read it, but literally writing it out in a journal every single day. And that seems to make it more real. Actually, it makes it more real, because what it's not only doing is not making you remember it, but it's also something about writing it in a journal makes it more real. You can actually physically see it and touch it, and it becomes more tangible. And I think when you can see it clearer, the more easier it's going to make for you as you continue to march down that path, right, of whatever direction you're moving in. So writing it out every day, if you can find a way to do that, I think it's going to be the most beneficial. I haven't personally done that. I think the most I've ever written down my goals and my reason why is really every few weeks. But again, I like to have access to it on my phone. That way I can kind of look at it whenever I need a refresher or whatever the case may be. And then plus, I get very introspective a lot. So I'm always constantly asking myself questions and practicing brutal honesty with myself. So I reconnect to my why quite a bit, you know what I'm saying? So and I think to kind of wrap things up, no matter where you go, no matter which direction you move in, no matter where you're at in life, you're always going to be met with problems. You're always going to be met with challenges, difficult people, difficult situations, random problems come about. Adversity is just a part of life. And I think that when you accept that, when you not only accept that, but you challenge yourself to reframe what adversity and problems and challenges are into opportunities, then you only help yourself. I've talked about it before on another episode. Ryan Holiday has wrote a book on stoicism, and the title of this book is called "The Obstacle Is the Way." You know, I'm gonna butcher the hell out of this quote. I believe it's by Epictetus, but he says the impediment that impedes action becomes the way, which basically in short means the obstacle is the way. Whatever seems to be impeding you is actually the way through, you know, and sometimes the way through might be around, above, you know, jump above it, whatever the case may be, but you're still going to have to get past whatever it is in front of you. So you can't necessarily run away from everything all the time, because it's going to show up, and it's going to show up in an even bigger form if you don't handle it right then and there. And it's just about staying in constant preparation mode, and just being prepared for whatever life has to throw at you, again, by embracing that adversity, embracing the fact that life is just going to be challenging. It's simple. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just the way it is. And the sooner you accept that and you kind of leave that victim mindset behind, you're going to be much more prepared for whatever happens in your life, and you'll be able to conquer whatever comes your way. And just to kind of tie it all together, with the central thesis of this episode is just reconnect to your why. Determine what your why is. Get crystal clear on that. Figure out what that why is for you, what your reason is for what you do, what your motivation is for why you do what you do every single day. And if you do that often enough, and you keep that at the forefront of what it is you do every single day, and you remind yourself why you do what you do, it's only going to help you conquer those challenges. It's only going to help you get ahead in life and stay on top of whatever it is that's bothering you, whatever it is that's impeding your progress. So in today's episode, I shared a lot, you know, in terms of what I'm currently going through, but I also shared some methods on how to deal with certain things. And I'm putting this into action myself constantly, which is why I'm sharing it with y'all. And it's something that I feel very comfortable talking about, because it's something that I practice myself on a daily. I have my moments, I have my days where I'm not feeling the best, and you know, you got to give yourself time. But at the end of the day, these are the things that are going to help you pick yourself back up in those challenging times and help you continuously progress forward, and live a more fulfilling life, and live the life that you want to live for yourself. So I hope that whatever I said in this episode, if there's something you can take out of it to help you, I hope that that's exactly what it does. And that's what I got for today's episode. If you like today's episode, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Got a lot more stuff cooking on the way. Like I mentioned, things are kind of moving along a little slowly because so much other stuff has kind of taken my bandwidth recently, but I'm sorting things out and getting organized and reconnecting to my why. And my why is strong enough to get me past anything, you know what I'm saying? So again, I hope whatever I said in this podcast episode helps you in any type of way. And with that being said, thank you once again for tuning in to the most recent episode of Unlocking Levels. I'm your boy CL the Source, your friendly neighborhood hope dealer. Hope y'all doing well. Hope y'all continue to do well. Big love to all y'all. Peace and love.